Okay, so once again, this particular unit, we're talking about memory, we're talking about associations that we have. We can't separate the brain from the body. No matter what the body is doing, it's some type of memory and some type of information. So I keep referring to different parts of the brain. So now I want to go over the different parts of the brain that have to do with memory and thought process. So first of all, we have the cerebellum, C-E-R-E-B-E-L-L-U-M, the cerebellum. All right, that is the cerebellum is responsible for procedural memory. Okay, so the cerebellum is classic conditioning. It's procedure. It's like, what do we do? Procedural memory. We do this. We do this. We do this. Classical conditioning. Remember in classical conditioning, you remember Pavlov's dog. The dog saw the food, he drooled, he ate the food, he did it again, he saw the food, he drooled, he ate the food, and then as he ate the food, they rang the bell, okay? So then he saw the food, they rang the bell, he ate the food, and then they did that several times, and then they rang the bell, and the dog never saw any food, and he salivated. Why? Because it was a procedural memory. It's like this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens, okay? So that's in the cerebellum. It's procedural memories, okay? And then we have the striatum, all right? The striatum, S-T-R-I-A-T-U-M, S-T-R-I-A-T-U-M, okay? That's in the front of the brain, okay? All right, it's in the forebrain. It's behind the frontal, okay? And it is for habit formation. So when we learn how to just tie our shoes through habit, that's in the striatum part of the brain, all right? Then we have the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is where we store sensory memories, okay? Sensory memories. And a lot of the, the five senses, I mean, what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we smell, okay, that's all in the cerebral cortex. And then we have the hippocampus. The hippocampus is a part of the brain that's long-term, except it just deals with facts, dates, names. It's got all the numbers, all the information, all the multiplication tables. That's in the hippocampus. And then we have the amygdala. Okay, now the hippocampus is spelled H-I-P-P-O-C-A-M-P-U-S, hippocampus. All right, that's a declarative memory, facts, dates, names. Okay. And then we have the amygdala, A-M-Y-G-D-A-L-A, A-M-Y-G-D-A-L-A. Now, the amygdala is really critical because here's the brain. The amygdala is a loop in the middle of the brain. And the amygdala is the retrieval of information. It's the retrieval of information. So the amygdala starts going around and we have a particular thing. We have a retrieval cue. So that retrieval cue is what out there. You know, it could be a smell, could be a taste, could be a word, could be a experience, could be anything. That retrieval cue sends that amygdala in action, and it's looking, saying, okay, is that over here in this episodic memory? Is that a sensory memory? Is that something that happened to me? Is that something, is it the somatic memory? Did I learn that? Is it something with speech? The baroques, I didn't talk about the baroques, but the baroques, B-O-R-C-S, the baroques region of the brain is a part of speech. So it's going through and looking for where this information is. Let me repeat those parts of the brain real quick. Make sure you've got them. The cerebellum, okay? Let me make a note of this, okay? So we have the cerebellum, the procedural memories. It's also anything with repetition, classical conditioned responses, okay, it's the cerebellum. Then the striatum, S-T-R-I-A-T-U-M, striatum. It says it's habit formation, okay, and stimulus response. So habit formation things, okay, all right, we've developed a habit. Like, for example, when we used to practice, whenever you practice something, whether it's a musical instrument, whether it's a sport, whether it's whatever it is, there used to be a saying, practice makes perfect. So when I was a coach, I used to say, well, if practice makes perfect, then you better be careful what you practice, okay? You better be careful what you practice, because you're going to do it as you practice it. So if I shoot a basketball, okay, if I shoot a basketball and I don't get my elbow in and I don't shoot this basketball and I just do this every time, the more I practice it, the more every time I say basketball shot, that's what I'm going to do because I practice that. All right? So this part of the brain is incredible, okay? The striatum, think about how much we do without even having to think, that we do by habit. That's why when I was coaching basketball, we used to sit and shoot a basketball without a ball. Okay, it sounds kind of stupid, but it's virtual because we stored it in our brain. Okay, we went through the process. We shot free throws. You know, we'd shoot. And you'd be like, "Boy, I'd like to be on your team. I never missed a free throw." But you'd be surprised. We dribble the ball, dribble whatever you're going to do. Same way every time. We stand on the free throw line, put our foot in the same spot, dribble 3 times, spin it, whatever we're going to do. We're going to do all that without a ball. Pick it up, go, shoot it, and then I ask, okay, how many people made the shot? Well, if you just did that in your mind, you either saw the ball go in or you saw it miss. Well, this is crazy because habit forming can tell you exactly what you need to know and exactly what you need to do. And if you missed it in your striatum, chances are you probably missed it in real life. And you're like, oh, I don't think that's right. No, that's really true. Practice it, because if you see yourself, if you miss it most of the time, and it hits in front of the rim all the time, I'll ask kids, I'll ask players, and I had varsity teams, and I'll say, oh, I have real good free throw shooters, and they'll be like, yeah, I swished it. And I said, well, what did it do? They said, well, it went through the net. I said, no, what did the net do? Said, oh, the net had this little turn. I'm like, okay, then you really saw it. Somebody said, oh, it hit the back of the rim and came out. I go, why did it hit the back of the rim and come out? Because I put too much, I didn't put enough arch on it. So I said, well, then you need to shoot another one and put the right amount of arch. So once you shoot it perfect every time, okay, once you shoot it perfect every time, then you begin to develop, in the striatum, you begin to get habit formation. There's a guy, he's the world record for the most number of free throws. I actually went to I was actually at a college clinic, and he was there, and it was kind of neat because here's Coach Krzyzewski from Duke, and Bobby Knight and a bunch of guys of the time were there, and they're all listening to him. And this guy has made over 100 free throws in a row several times. I mean, this guy can just set and go and go and go. And he said, this is interesting, and I talk about this because of the striatum. They said, well, how do you practice? Do you just shoot hundreds and hundreds? And he said, I line up, and he said, I shoot thousands in my mind. And he said, I go until I never miss. And I think, what did I do? And I do it the same every time. He said, I don't shoot a lot in person. He said, I shoot them in my mind. So I think that's a good suggestion. If you're playing basketball, you may tell your coach you're going to do virtual running. Okay, now that probably won't work. We better not go that far. But think about this. And so, is real life like that? Yeah, I mean, can you habit form yourself into a lot of things? And the answer is yes to some degree. Okay, but the striatum is for habit formation. The cerebral cortex is for sensory memories. It also has to do with some spatial things, like things we can't ordinarily see, and different things. But for your test, let's memorize cerebral cortex is sensory memories. There's an old song out there that says, I smell the grass and it takes me back to a football game, and I think it's a Kenny Chesney song, and I smell the floor and it takes me back to a basketball game or whatever. So all these sensory memories are there, and they can be semantic or they can be episodic. Okay, and then the hippocampus, that is declarative memory, facts, dates, names, all the facts in there. And what does the amygdala do? Help us as we retrieve memories to all the different parts. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of a memory process. Okay, now this was actually there was a guy. I was actually at a particular a meeting of a bunch of men in the area, and this guy actually goes out and works with corporations on memory. He also works with people with how to build their memory, and he also works with people on with people who maybe don't have as good a memory, or people who are older, to try to keep their brain working and functioning. He works with a lot of senior citizens to make sure that they don't get dementia, or that their brain stops functioning. So it's going to sound kind of funny, but let me tell you his technique, and then let's talk about how it works psychologically. I just told you the amygdala retrieves information. So if all we do is go and get our information from one thing, if all we do is get information from the hippocampus, that's just dates and dates times names and multiplication tables, then all we do, we're just factual, okay? Now, if we get information from all the different things, the striatum, the habit forming, the cerebellum, the procedure, the cerebral cortex, the sensory memories, the hippocampus, facts, dates, names, the Baroque region, the speech, if we get them from the logical side and the creative side, then all our mind works, and that's what makes our mind alert, is making connections all the way around the brain with the amygdala. So his system, and this is going to sound kind of crazy, but let's go through it real quick. I'm not going to ask you this particular part on your test, but I want you to see how it works. He says that what you have to do when you want to memorize something, if you have to run it through all the different parts of your brain, so he says what you do is, and if you you want to write this down, you can, or go back and look at it. He says one is bun. One is bun. So the first thing you want to memorize, he said, you imagine it on a bun with just like a hamburger, with all the ketchup, all the lettuce, tomatoes, and everything else. So he says 2 is glue. So you imagine something glued to something, okay? Something glued to something. He said 3 is bee. Imagine a bunch of bees stinging it, and it's going out like this. 4 is door. He said imagine something with a door. 5 is dive. It's something jumping off a diving board. So this is kind of one of those things, and you're like, I don't even see what you're talking about right now, and I didn't either when he was talking about it. He can go through 100 different things, okay? So 1 is bun, 2 is glue, 3 is bee, 4 is door, and 5 is dive. So let's pretend like we're doing a shopping list, okay? Let's pretend like we're doing a shopping list. Well, let's say that the first thing we need to get, let's say, is soap, okay? All right? So we're going to imagine the soap, even though it's crazy, the crazier the better. We're going to imagine a hamburger, which is going to go back to our episodic memories of all the good hamburgers we've had. And then we're going to imagine a bar of soap right inside that hamburger. Okay? So we go 1 bun, and what do we see inside that bun? Soap, because we went through all the different parts of our brain. 2 is glue. Let's say we're going to pick up, let's say we've got to get, let's just say we've got to get paper towels. Okay? So we got paper towels as number 2. So we just imagine the paper towels glued to something, or the word paper towels on a Post-it, and the Post-it's glued to your forehead, or imagine something glued. So 2 glue. What did you imagine? You had to see the actual picture. Had to make it episodic. Okay. So for me, it was a paper towel glued to my forehead. Okay. So imagine something with glue. If you don't have something, take that. 2 glue, and immediately you think of a paper towel glued to your forehead. Okay. So B, I'm going to go with Dawn dish soap. Okay. And we're just going to go through 3 because we're going to run out of time. But this Dawn dish soap, I imagine a bunch of bees stinging it, and it's just swelling up, going Dawn dish soap, Dawn dish soap. So now I get to the store. So it's always the same order. 1 is always bun. So 1 bun. Oh, what did I have 1 bun? Oh, soap. I remember the soap's in there. Why? Because I used all the parts of my brain, and the amygdala reinforced that. 1 bun. Oh, soap. I remember the soap of the deal. 2 glue. What was glue? Oh, the paper towel was glued to my forehead. 2 glue, paper towel. Okay. 3 B. Oh, what did I remember for B? Oh, the Dawn dish soap. Specifically Dawn. It's blue, and I see all the bees stinging it, and it's swelling out like this. Okay. So it's interesting that he teaches corporations that. He teaches older people that so they don't get dementia. Okay. He teaches younger people that. I mean, even in 2nd graders so they can memorize stuff. He teaches people that in college so they can remember large stuff for their test. And so, and it goes through 100. But what happens is it uses all the different parts of the brain. So we're going to end with that. It's kind of interesting. That's our part of learning memory. And I'll see you